Hello and welcome to the Rhythm Factory. I'm Eddie C, and together with my co-host Peter D, we're going to bring you in touch with people in and around the music business. This is the podcast that takes you up close and personal. Hi, once again, and welcome to the Rhythm Factory podcast. My name is Eddie C, and to my right is my co-host, Mr. Peter D. Today we have a female singer from out the Eindhoven area in Holland. That's the southern part of Holland, more or less, Brabant, and as they call it. Miss Jane Onderwater. Jane is a fantastic jazz, funk, soul, multi-talented musician as well, and she's got quite a wide range of a voice. I mean, she can hit low notes as low as I can hit them, and which is part of her. Become part of her whole thing. Anyway, welcome to our show, Jane. You're from the southern part of Holland, but basically
Yes.
your deep roots are Indonesian.
Yes.
Well, I had a question to you. How does that impact your whole way that you are now with your love for jazz and soul and just music in general?
Yeah, I think more the music in general, because when you're from Indonesia, there's always an uncle, a nephew, whatever relative who plays mostly in Indonesian families guitar, and they sing. So I think my passion for music started there. It didn't actually had a real influence on the way I make my music now.
Yeah.
But it definitely gave me a start in the music, and started absolutely there. So, but not really with the jazz or anything. I think that came much later.
Much later.
Yeah.
Okay. You of course you've been busy for a long time.
32 years.
Well, yeah, well, and that I think that helps to make you the very versatile person that you are. I mean, I've worked with you several times as well,
Yeah.
and it's always fun, good gigs, but a richness in the richness that you carry in the way you perform as an entertainer is always. I mean, people love it, and you see it on the response from also the musicians enjoy.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's really important, because first you play, well, at least that's my opinion. You play for yourself and together with your musicians.
Absolutely.
And if you really have that click and you have fun on stage and you have fun in what you're doing, then the audience will pick that up, and then you get the feedback, the response that you want. It's a give and take. And but if you don't enjoy what you're doing, not even yourself, or not even
Exactly.
with your musicians.
Yeah, and why should you
Sometimes
do it?
I'm when I don't have to play myself and I go see other bands and I see a perfect band put fantastic music but nothing happens.
Yeah.
I get bored.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I really get
Absolutely.
bored.
Yeah.
I want to see passion and fire and enthusiasm, and that's what I want to see. I want to feel in the audience. I feel the sparkles. I need to feel them.
Is that something you try to get from your musicians you're working with? You're in front of the stage, of
yeah,
course.
but for some reason, I get that automatically. In one of my combos, there's a piano player. He is amazing, but the first time I saw him, I thought something's wrong with you. I don't know. Yeah, from the foot, and he's a. But now he plays with me for several years, and he is.
Opening up.
Yeah,
something.
he's
Like a flower, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That's amazing.
So I think that it happens.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it happens.
Well, you have a way. I know working with you, that's something. I think it's also an inner talent that musicians say. We try to bring the best out of the people that we're working with, and you do that as well when you're performing, and you can see when you're on stage, playing with a band or in the studio, you get them to open up. That's very important, because that's what you want to get, is the purity out of the music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, you're known as, or people compare you, in a way like you're a James Brown, Lionel Richie, Barry White kind of vocalist, wrapped up in a soulful, warm female package, of course. But it's quite a personal sound.
Yes, it is.
Exceptional. Can you tell us more about it and how you came about it?
Well, how it came about it. As a child, we were raised Catholic. So as a child, I'd love to sing always. And me and my sister, we joined the choir in the church. And then always the one who was leading at the time said, "Who is that incredible low voice in the..." And I was like, I said, "You go." Said, "You go in the back." And I was like, so for a very, very, very long period, I was really embarrassed by my voice.
Okay.
And it took me a while to realize, to turn it around, because I was always, well, not jealous, but I envied the co-singers I was working with, that they can hit the real high notes and everything, and I was like, oh God. But I didn't know that at the same time, they thought, incredible, she can hit those, like, I wish I could do that.
Right.
So I think I made it my strength, but it took me a while, because in the beginning, when I started, I was really insecure about my range of voice. So, but I think now it's my strength. And also with backing vocals, sometimes they lack a male singer, and then I do that part too. They say, "Oh, Jane is in the house, so she can do it." Easy.
But it makes you quite exceptional, actually.
Yes, I think it's really, because with the Groove Foundation, that's really a soul funk band. I'm one of the female singers in there. And
Great band, by the way.
yeah, Eddie played with us. Was great, by the way.
Great man. Yeah.
But we even do, and that's more like a gimmick. It's a joke. People enjoy it. We do a real Mother for You and Johnny Gitter Watson, and then you see the audience really like, huh? What?
Yeah, I remember that.
They're amazed at what
Yeah.
you're doing
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
The sound you produce.
Yeah, so that is funny. I can also sing normal, like, but then at that time I really need to focus on my breathing and everything to put it up in a good pitch. But I think it's my strength. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty inspiring, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
From one point you're a bit insecure about it, and it
Yes.
becomes your strength.
Yes.
I think that's really inspiring.
Yes,
to,
it
to
is.
transform it in
yeah,
that way.
but to realize and to make it your strength, that's a process, and that's to get more secure about yourself. Because I know incredibly well in music what I can do and what I cannot, and I leave that to others. Because
Right.
I still believe that strength from different people makes the music what it is.
Absolutely.
And if you do what you can do best, you always
Yeah,
perform in the
yeah,
right way. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you feel confident.
Exactly.
You're in your comfort zone. So.
Well, speaking of your comfort zone, you have this. You're pretty sure about what you want when you're working with your bands, when you're doing your performing. Of course, there's also a family life that you have as well, and I know you kind of sometimes can be pretty much of a workaholic. I mean, I recognize a lot of the traits from myself, but I mean, how do you balance that? You know, being a wife, being a mom, and being on the go all the time, because I mean, you are as busy as a super bee.
Yeah,
as
I
would
know,
say.
I know. Well, what helps me is that I put the photos on the refrigerator with the names, so I remember who's who. No. I think it is. My family life, I don't think it's about the quantity, but it's about the quality time you spend together. And Sanna now is 16 years old. I was with her in the studio last week to record her demos. She's
So she's in the music as
yeah,
well.
so that
All right.
and Rob, my partner, is a piano player, so he's with his band on the road. So I think we're kind of used to it, and we found a way to
make it work.
to make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You got to plan some quality time, or does it just happen, or is it?
No,
you gotta schedule it?
I plan it, and normally what I say when Sanna's birthday, I don't do any gigs, even if they pay me 2,000. That's her birthday. When she's out of the house, then it's a different story. But Christmas is Christmas time. New Year's Eve is New Year's Eve. I don't do any gigs then.
That's good. The holidays,
Yes.
the holidays,
Yeah.
birthdays.
Those are good principles, right?
Yes,
to have.
that's for me.
Yeah.
If it's my birthday or Rob's birthday, whatever, we can do it a day after or a day before.
But it's good.
But that's what I always done in these years. Yeah.
Yeah. But being so busy with all the projects, I mean, you actually lead or organize a couple of jam sessions.
Yes, I do.
You play in a lot of different bands and projects,
Yes.
and you're all over the place actually. And you're also playing other instruments. You're not only a singer, right? I mean, I saw a picture of you playing the saxophone, for
Yeah,
instance.
I know.
And you know, we talked a little bit, and you thought you were actually good at everything a little bit. Besides singing.
I can do a couple of things. I started when I was a kid. I started with playing the guitar, and I still play the guitar when I see what chords and what
Such
key
stuff
for me
that-
is the
right,
best
yeah.
for that song. But that's it. I don't play guitar on stage. Well, I did 2 weeks ago. It was a pity. But no, and the saxophone. I started playing saxophone years ago because I was looking for an instrument where you can have the same passion and the same things you can do with your voice. And for me, that was the saxophone. You can let it scream, you can let it soar, you can let it. That for me was the instrument that was the closest to my voice.
Right, right.
But I'm not a good saxophone player at all. I'm functional. I'm functional with my saxophone. But I have an incredible good saxophone player in my combo, Jan Pils, so I don't have the need to do it. It would be ridiculous. Sometimes when we have a nice gig, then we do a piece together. But again, like a gimmick. It would be like
It's
inviting,
novelty.
yeah, exactly, inviting you again with the Groove Foundation, and you're going to be with a triangle or whatever, and I'm going to do all the percussion with Eddie standing next to me. That's
Yeah, that would be weird. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. But
So-
is playing the saxophone for you as a singer? Does it train you to have more lung capacity for, you know, maybe reaching out for singing? I mean, you
No,
gotta.
I think it's the other way around. I think for me it
Okay.
was easier because I was a singer before, and because I played tenor saxophone.
Okay.
I started with alto, but that for me was, I think everything with me needs to be low C, but so that for me was the alto saxophone was not it. So I played tenor saxophone, but it was actually the other way around.
Because you sing, you can.
It was easier for me
Yeah.
to get more air through the instrument.
Well, I would like to know a little bit more about the projects that you're doing, the bands that you're playing with, and you know, especially the jam sessions you're organizing. Can you tell a bit more about it?
Yeah, the jam sessions, we do that at Kraai en Balder. It's a cafe in Eindhoven, which really is one of the oldest jazz cafes, especially in the southern part of the Netherlands. And that is really based on real book.
Okay.
So if anyone has their real book and they say I want to play this and this song, there's always a backline, and that means that I make a year schedule because I have wonderful musicians, and they play on that Wednesday because it's the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday of the month, and they play for a couple of drinks, and they're really great musicians. But there's always so much fun. And it provides a stage also for people who did some workshops in jazz and really want to play with a combo. So I make a year schedule, and everyone knows, okay, that Wednesday is my turn. And so I have always a guitar player, a piano player, a drummer, and a bass player. And then we can add
Basic
extra.
rhythm section, you can add
Yes,
the
and I
rest.
don't do it all alone. I co-host this together with Caroline van der Velde. She's also amazing. And it actually started, I suffered from 2 strokes in my head 2 years ago. So at that time I thought, okay, I could join the Josti band.
Gotta take it slow. Gotta
Yeah.
Listen
But
to your
I
body.
that took me, well, almost a year to really recover and get back on stage. And during that time, Caroline was hosting that jam session, and she did it in a wonderful way. So, because I needed to slow down a little bit, we decided to do it together. And so normally we also split it. So she takes the first Wednesday and I take the third one, and sometimes we do it
Right.
together. And That's how we do it now. But it's really always busy. A lot of musicians are coming to the Kraaien Bal, so that's amazing.
It became sort of a happening.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we not even 1 month ago we celebrated our 15-year anniversary
Wow.
with all the musicians. We made a jazz marathon, so we started at 3 and we ended somewhere late in the evening.
Late in the evening.
Wow. That's
Yeah, it
cool.
sounds like a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And I know you've let me know. Come jam with it. And usually I've had to do something.
I know.
and
It's and then I
so
have
you
a
have to
jam
be-
session.
be one of those lucky Wednesdays, you
that
know.
I do together with Martin Verschijndel, and that is really based on pop, rock, whatever comes along, whatever the people want to play.
Yeah.
So that is also a lot of fun. And then I do every 2 months I do a session together with Bruce Homelier. He's an incredible percussion player also, and a bass player and a singer. And but there we have we set it up different. So you have first some acts, and then later on there's the jam session.
Right.
So that's beside. Those are the sessions that I do.
Wow.
Quite a full package. You know, I know you have to also just like I said, you're the super busy bee. You've got to also leave for a gig in a little bit. So, but before you go, I want to ask you another question. You know, I over the years, we always ask our guests, you know, if they've experienced some kind of awkward situation
Awkward.
or something which was funny that they
With me,
experienced.
where do I begin? I think my first real jazz gig,
Yeah.
because jazz for me came much later as a musician, and I think because I was not ready before it. So then Joep van der Burgt, who is a piano player on one of my combos, he said, we're gonna do a gig 3 days in a row at Kokanje in Eindhoven during Jazz Eindhoven. That at the time was still there. Now they stopped, unfortunately. And I said, great, what do you want me to do? Now he asked me to come along with those gigs. I said, and I thought I needed to take care of the sandwiches and the drinks, and because I didn't know even one jazz song at all. Yeah, from radio or other thing, but not from me. And he said, no, you're going to do that. And we had 1 week to rehearse. So we went there, and there was a guitar player at that, also amazing, Dick Onstink. I will never forget it. And what they do, they have, well, schemes of chords that they play, and I had no idea what I was on stage doing my song. But because I only had 1 week, there were so many songs that I had the lyrics in front of me. And then one of the guys, they picked a song, they said, we're going to do this and this. And then I heard the guitar player, I don't have that song, I don't have that song, I don't have it. I said, oh, I've got it for you because I've got it double. And I handed over the lyrics. And I've never seen a guy looking so stupid at me like, what the... do I need the lyrics for? And I was really trying to help him out because I know I got the song, because that was so stupid. But because I was you're going great today, aren't you? But I was so unexperienced in that whole jazz thing, and we talk about that a lot, but there was so many. I was on a, I think that was my third jazz gig where I really saw a drummer drop off the stage behind me. So I was in the intro of a ballad, and I heard like something like that. What happened there? Or, incredibly a lot of noise, and I looked, and the stage was pretty high, and I only saw his 2 feet standing like this on the side of the stage, but the noise. And then Joep looked at me like,
Keep going.
but I was in.
go on.
And if I crack up, then I have tears, and I'm on the floor, and there's nothing I can do anymore. And I was so incredibly focusing that I didn't stop singing. I continued with a big smile on my face because it wasn't. I asked them though, like, "Are you okay?" And they were like, "Ruh, ruh," next to the stage. So I was like, "Okay, he's still alive, so we can go on."
Right.
But I have so many stupid things that happen on stage, and
Yeah, I think you could probably fill a lot of books if you ask put these things all the musicians go through.
Yeah.
It's but that's also part of the fun of doing what we do. The
Yeah,
unexpected.
yeah, absolutely.
Like our cameraman.
Yeah, but I love that.
Those things can happen,
Yeah,
That's the
because-
fun thing about doing a live interview as well. Little things can happen.
Yeah, totally agree. So therefore, I even I read it quickly, and I did not prepare.
Good.
Because if I
Yeah.
prepare something, then
Takes
I
away the
will just go with the
spontaneity.
flow.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I'm going to start a new project the 4th of March. It's someone to do our own songs, and so you have a bass player and a guitar player and a drummer, and they were looking for a female singer to create. So really dive in a room and create. And then he said, "Do you want us to send you some themes so you can prepare?" And I'm like, "No, let's just start and we'll see if
How
we
far
get
you
that
get.
click." And
If it clicks or not, right?
they say, "We never had that before, that we're gonna do something on the spot." And that's what I like most.
Yeah.
That's what I like most. And I do that with my jazz combos as well. They never know what's gonna happen. And they always say it's always a surprise, because I love to shut up the entire band and just sing with the drummer and the percussion player. I love to do that, and
Yeah.
they never know when it's their turn, and it's. But I think that's
That
fun.
keeps the interaction going,
yes,
right? Yeah,
Yes,
that's,
and I'm not. I must say, I'm not the most charming person on stage, I guess. I always know. If I look back at videos or whatever, we made a DVD with the Groove Foundation, and we had to do all the makeup and our eyelashes, and every time I go on stage, I make sure, I promise to myself, I'm going to be a real cute female singer, and at the end I forget all about it.
Well, you rock and roll. You just rock.
And I even do that with my jazz combo. I have a nice cal and everything, and then you see how the way I move, it really doesn't, but it's me. When I'm making music, when it's on stage, I forget everything. So I had to be put off the stage because one of the eyelashes was already there, and all the other singers, they even didn't sweat at all, and they looked perfect, and I'm.
Well, that's like, what we talked about before. Is it about what you project, like an image, or is it just from the inner?
Yeah, it's really
thing?
from the inner. But
Yeah.
sometimes I see things coming back, and I'm like, oh God, is that me?
Yeah, but that's also the fun part about it. I mean, I've had it as well. I'll look back at us and say, "Oh man, did I have to look that way at that moment?
Yeah.
Did it keep my stomach in? Did I have to turn my head this way or that way? So you always, there's always the self-criticism is a good way of improving yourself as well. But there's always the spontaneity. I mean, that's how people get to know you. I mean, that's the nice thing about it.
Yeah, I guess so. But sometimes that's the only thing I really also would like to look like a diva on stage, and I'm never.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's like self-criticism, right? I mean,
yeah.
I remember John Lennon once said that he hated his own voice. He said, I can't sing and stuff like that. And
I could understand if he said that about his wife, but. She got this, maybe, I don't know.
So, but I think it's more a problem if you don't have the self-criticism and a little bit of the insecurity. I mean, it keeps you sharp. It keeps you, going for the best.
Keeps you on your toes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Jane, we want to thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you
the
for
show.
having me.
And if you want to know more about Jane, please come to our Facebook page, where you can find all the information about Jane, how to reach her, how to get in contact with her links, websites, and you can also write a email to us at the Rhythm Factory Podcast @gmail.com. And once again, information about my colleague, Mr. Peter D, is on there. My information is on there. I want to leave you with saying, just be yourself. Thanks again for tuning into the Rhythm Factory Podcast. Take care.